What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another Heart Over Height episode. Today we're going to be going over the Demar Derozan trade. As you guys have all heard, I'm just going to be giving my reaction, breaking down the trade, and then discussing just some further plans that the Kings might have, as well as the Spurs and the Bulls. So if you do enjoy this content, do me a huge favor, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 20K subs. Do me a huge favor, smash the like button, and comment down below who won this deal, whether it was the Kings themselves. Was this a good deal for them or not? So with that being said, let's get right on into it. So before we break down the trade, before we discuss the trade and whether it was good or bad for what sides and all that, let's talk about the trade itself. So the Kings received Demar Derozan, which then they signed him to a 3-year, $74 million deal. The Spurs got Harrison Barnes, and the Bulls got Chris Duarte and 2 second-round picks. As you guys have known from the previous videos that I've put out, you know that I was not a huge fan of Demar Derozan in Sacramento. Why is that? Because the big thing is spacing. You look at right now, they have a lineup of De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis. And you look and you say, okay, you got 2 3-point shooters in Kevin Huerter and Keegan Murray, and you have Fox, DeMar, and Sabonis. The one thing I don't like is I think about, I see De'Aaron Fox and DeMar both being top 2 in fourth quarter clutch points and all that, right? But there's only one basketball shared between the two of them. That is my huge problem with this idea of De'Aaron, DeMar, and Sabonis is clutch buckets. They're always attacking the basket, pulling up from mid-range, and so on and so forth, that it might get clogged in that lane where you have teams that are going to force them to shoot threes. Let DeMar shoot 4, 5, 6 threes a game. Let De'Aaron Fox beat you from beyond the arc so that you're not being beat from the inside, right? The problem with this is DeMar DeRozan does not shoot the 3 ball that well. He doesn't. From the corner 3, his numbers show 47% or 43% or something like that, above 40% from the corner, but that's only on like 27 attempts. It's not a lot for an 82-game season. De'Aaron Fox, he's a great player, but the question is, Sacramento, like, was this really the move that puts you over the hump to compete against Denver, against the Lakers, against other teams? The Dallas Mavericks have just made the finals. Like, is DeMar DeRozan that guy, right? And now with Sacramento, it doesn't seem like they're done. There's ties that they're interested in someone like Kyle Kuzma, if they can go get Lauri Markkanen, somebody in that caliber. But even if you go get, let's say, Kyle Kuzma, and it's centered around Kevin Huerter and picks, is Kyle Kuzma that guy? Like, now you're looking at De'Aaron, DeMar, Keegan, Kyle Kuzma, Sabonis. Is that still, like, that doesn't sound, that honestly spacing sounds worse to me than having Kevin Huerter. Now, Sacramento, what I do really like about this deal for Sacramento is they finally decided to make a move. They didn't just go into this offseason and just re-sign the same guys and run it back, because that is what they've been known for with DeMarcus Cousins, Tyreek Evans, Isaiah Thomas, just running back the same squad over and over and over again, hoping that they just grow and get better, and it never happens. They stay very stagnant. That's why I could see, if this isn't going very well for them, you might see around the trade deadline a deal for Keegan Murray. I understand Sacramento fans love him to death, right? Keegan, he's a great player. He's developing very well, but his value could be exactly what you need to go get a star. You look at, there could be some disgruntled stars out there. The Phoenix Suns are a team to watch. Devin Booker or Kevin Durant there, that Keegan would be a solid piece that if I'm Phoenix, I'm looking, oh shoot, we can get Keegan, let's do it, for a guy like D-Book. And then you have De'Aaron Fox, D-Book, DeMar, whoever you have at the 4 at that point, and Sabonis. Like, I would be interested to see if this process doesn't work. If DeMar does not work in Sacramento, right? They need more I would also be interested to see, too, if Malik Monk would move to the starting lineup. If they go out and get Kyle Kuzma, for example. Right? So you have De'Aaron, Malik, you have DeMar, of course, Kyle Kuzma, or Keegan, whichever one, and then you have Sabonis. Would Malik move to the starting lineup to just add some spacing there? Because I like that lineup a lot better than having DeMar at the 2. Now let's talk about defensively. The biggest problem, one of the bigger problems that the Kings have had in the past is the fact that they can't defend very well. They have Keegan, who's a really good defender, right? Sabonis is obviously a decent defender. But then you looked at, they had De'Aaron Fox, they had Kevin Huerter, and they had Harrison Barnes. Not bad defenders, but not really good defenders in a guard-heavy Western Conference. You're going to have to guard Curry. You're going to have to guard, guys like D-Book, like I just mentioned, the James Hardens. Paul George is obviously gone, but now the Kawhis. So do you have the defenders there to then go and flourish and beat those squads? There's a lot of question marks with this move, too, because of their young development. Keon Ellis is someone that in the G League was shooting 40-something% from 3. And now he's starting to get lost in this rotation. Or if he doesn't get lost in this rotation, then does your rookie Devin Carter get lost? Or did you just draft Devin Carter to then pair him with Kevin Huerter and another pick or so to then go get Kyle Kuzma? There's so many question marks here with the Sacramento Kings' decision to go get DeMar DeRozan, especially since I put out that video about guys like Gordon Hayward, who was a cheaper option, or somebody of that caliber who could help them and who plays defense. Defense is what wins these championships. Boston being one of the top defensive teams in the league. Denver, when they won their championship, being one of the better teams. Golden State being one of the better defensive teams. Like, that was just some of the question marks that I have here. Now, the Spurs here. Let's talk about them. Because the Spurs, as of right now, have Harrison Barnes. I could see Harrison Barnes, though, increasing his value and the Spurs shipping him around the trade deadline as a championship roster is kind of emerging, and then they are willing to give a pick or so to go get someone like Harrison Barnes. So I like that move for San Antonio. They just go and absorb that, and then they just say, hey, he could be available as a trade potential piece for one of these winning teams. We're not quite there yet, and it gives more mentorship to the guys around us, Kelvin Johnson, Devin Vassell, etc., that will eventually, hopefully, continue to grow, right? And then the Bulls. I like this a lot for the Bulls. Obviously, DeMar, you could have traded him before and probably gotten a little bit of more than Chris Duarte and 2 second-round picks, but he easily could have just walked, right? Gone somewhere else, and you would have gotten nothing out of it. Now you get the chance to take 2 second-round picks, and yes, most likely those won't turn into anything, but they could, right? And then you get a young player who he had a great rookie season with Indiana. Then goes over, doesn't have a great second year. With the Kings, he didn't really have a good year. Now he can go to Chicago, 0 expectations, 0 need for him to play extremely well because they're not in a winning situation. And then you can go and you can just be Chris Duarte and just go play basketball. Hopefully gain some value. And then you can find a later contract there for him. So these moves are just questionable here for Sacramento overall. I want to just keep talking about Sac because obviously this is huge. I know I've been looking at what the Kings fans have been thinking about this deal. And overall it seems very positive, right? Which I'm happy for the Kings fans thinking that this is a very positive move. And I hope it, of course, works out for them. I'm just kind of thinking of this in the sense of like, there's only one basketball, and spacing is a big problem here, especially if you're going to look to trade Kevin Huerter and then go get someone like Kyle Kuzma, who, again, is not the greatest defender. That's where all these question marks, it's like, why are we not going and looking at someone like Dorian Finney-Smith for the Kings, Gordon Hayward for the Kings, Cam Johnson for the Kings? Better defenders to help them out win now. Cam Johnson seems like a perfect fit for Sacramento. Spaces the floor, plays defense. You slide DeMar to the 2. You have Cam Johnson at the 3, Keegan at the 4, Sabonis at the 5. I like that lineup a lot better. Now, another thing is, if this whole DeMar DeRozan pairing with De'Aaron isn't working as well, could you possibly switch Malik and DeMar, where DeMar comes off the bench, Malik goes to the starting lineup, and then you have De'Aaron, Malik, you have Cam Johnson, Keegan, and Sabonis. And you have DeMar coming off the bench, your new rookie, Trey Lyles there, space the floor. That's something that Sacramento needs to be looking into, is these other moves. You got to stay. You can't just stay stagnant here. You have to go make a big splash. I think watch out for them with Phoenix. The Clippers would be interesting to see the dysfunction that might go down there, because Paul George is gone. Kawhi is constantly injured, not necessarily playing. Could we see a disgruntled Kawhi? Could we see a disgruntled Kevin Durant or Devin Booker? Sacramento needs to go full force for those guys. Brandon Ingram, still on the table. Better 3-and-D guy than having DeMar DeRozan, in my opinion. It's like, it's frustrating because it's like with Sacramento, like you want them to make the big splash move, and then a move like this happens, and you're like, like it's just kind of like I'll need to wait and see, but at the same time, I don't love it. Like I'm not in love with this deal for Sacramento. Now, of course, it's only a 3-year deal, right? So, but a lot can happen in 3 years. 3 years is a time where De'Aaron could get disgruntled and be like, all right, guys, I've come to you guys year after year after year saying, hey, I want to win now. You guys are making these so-so moves. I'm done. I'm out. And then Sabonis is checked out too, right? And if De'Aaron's gone, Malik's gone. There ain't no way they're both staying there, right? I think that Sacramento needs to capitalize now. And although they love Keegan and what Keegan brings to the table and everything, I think you go ahead and you pair Keegan with Kevin Huerter's contract, and then throw in Devin Carter if you want and a pick or two, and go get you a star. Go see what's up with the Clippers and see if Kawhi would want to join Sacramento. Go out to Phoenix and say, hey, is Kevin Durant on the table or not? We see Houston's been knocking at the door trying to ask. We want to see the same thing. If things are going wrong in, let's say, New Orleans with DeJounte and Zion, is Zion on the table? Something here. And I think that Keegan is a good pairing and good value in today's league. I mean, if you're the Pelicans, you're looking at Keegan, you're like, yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the better players we'd get back in return for Zion. Something like that. Or, you go to Houston and you say, hey, like, what's up with Sengun? Can we talk about Sengun? Or, there's just a lot of players here that are available. I think Keldon Johnson would be a decent guy from San Antonio, too. I could see Keldon being on the trade block, too, and I don't think he'd be that expensive. I don't think you'd have to give up a crazy amount to get him. I think that there's a lot of opportunity here for Sacramento, and I hope that they don't fumble the bag. So, overall, this deal is just very questionable, and we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm just not a huge fan of the deal right off the bat. I hope that they prove me wrong. But, of course, who knows? Only time will tell. So if you guys did enjoy this, do me a huge favor. Smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Comment down below on whether this is a win or loss for Sacramento. With that being said, guys, it's been another Heart Over Height episode, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.